Imagine being able to stay on his mind all day without sending countless messages, without overthinking, and without chasing perfection. Just 3 carefully chosen words, spoken with intention, can make the difference between being easily overlooked and leaving a deep emotional impression. And no, this isn't some cheesy line from a movie or a quick trick. There's nothing magical about it. What you're about to learn is how attraction actually works on a deeper psychological level. According to renowned psychologist Carl Jung, the connections that affect us most are not logical, they are emotional and symbolic. It's rarely what you see on the surface that captivates you. Instead, it's what that image represents within your unconscious mind. Jung once said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." So why not discover how to speak directly to a man's unconscious from the very beginning? Most women open conversations with neutral phrases, things like, "Hey, how are you?" or "How's your day?" And while polite, these words lack spark, energy, or story. The result? He replies out of courtesy, but nothing about the exchange lingers in his thoughts. Your words didn't stir emotion, paint an image, or spark curiosity. And without emotion, there's no memory. The mind doesn't hold on to words, it holds on to feelings. Jung highlighted this truth. It's emotion that anchors a memory. So it's not that you did anything wrong, you just weren't using the right approach. But that's about to change, because when you learn how to choose the right words and deliver them with the right energy, you don't just capture his attention, you ignite something in him he can't fully explain, yet can't ignore either. That's when you begin to live in his mind, even in your absence. Before I reveal those 3 words, think about this. How many times have you tried to start a conversation that went nowhere? Probably more than once. But that doesn't mean you're not interesting. It simply means you are using language that didn't trigger his emotional instincts. Now, pay attention. These 3 words are not a magic formula, but when used with intention, they can completely shift the way he perceives you. And once you begin using them naturally, the effect is remarkable. Many women believe they need to impress in order to be liked, by appearing flawless, saying the right things, and always being charming. But the truth, as Jung understood well, is that the male unconscious reacts more strongly to symbols than to logic. In other words, it's not about perfection. It's about creating an emotional connection within him. You don't need grand conversations to achieve that. You just need to avoid sounding like everyone else. Think about it. If he constantly hears similar remarks from different women, it all fades into background noise. But you're not meant to be background noise. You're meant to stand out. The mistake isn't in speaking to him. The mistake isn't doing so without impact. And when that happens, it's as if you were never there at all. Worse, some women try to compensate with long messages, exaggerated compliments, or endless questions. But that approach usually backfires, coming across as intrusive and pushing him further away. So how do you capture his attention right away? First, stop sounding like you're reading from a script. Second, remember, attraction doesn't arise from the words themselves, but from how you say them and how they make him feel. Picture this. You walk into a cafe and see the man you're interested in. Most women might say something polite like, "Are you waiting for someone?" or "Mind if I sit here?" Safe, yes, but forgettable. Now imagine instead you offer a subtle smile and say, "You and I need to settle something. Is the coffee here actually good or just pretending to be?" Notice the difference. That's not just a line. It's a spark. It's a small twist that disrupts routine, pulls him out of autopilot, and makes him pay attention. That's the kind of impact that creates emotional resonance, a subtle echo that lingers in his mind, even if he can't explain why. When you spark that feeling, you become memorable. And once he remembers you, he starts viewing you in a new light. This is why it's important to move past empty greetings and forgettable phrases. In this dynamic, you either leave a lasting impression or disappear without notice. Now that you understand the reason behind it, you're ready. The words are simple: you and me. They may sound too basic to hold power, but their strength doesn't come from length. It comes from what they suggest. When you say you and me, it's not just a casual phrase. You're shaping a mental picture where both of you are already linked. You're projecting a shared moment, planting the seed of possibility. It's as if he can already see you in his world. Psychologically, that's much more impactful than it first appears. Carl Jung often spoke about the symbolic language of the unconscious. A phrase like you and me works exactly that way. It becomes a symbol. It sparks imagination, stirs subtle desire, and quietly opens the door to what could be. Because here, you're not asking, you're suggesting with confidence and poise. Think about it. When you say, "Do you want to go out with me?" you're handing over control and waiting for approval. But when you say, "You and me should go out this Saturday," the dynamic changes. It's no longer framed as a question. It becomes a confident vision, and that leaves an impression. Let's take a real example. You're getting to know someone and the conversation flows easily. Instead of saying, "I love talking to you," which is kind but predictable, imagine saying, "You and I could have dangerously good conversations." Do you feel the difference? It's playful, it carries energy, and most importantly, it plants the image of the two of you together in his mind. That's how you start standing out. So why does this work? Because those three words reflect three qualities men value deeply in a woman. Confidence, you're not asking, you're stating. Clarity, you know what you want and express it directly. Initiative, you're not waiting for him to take the first step. You take the lead when the timing is right. But remember, this isn't about casually throwing around "you and me" with every man you meet. The power of these words depends as much on delivery as on timing. If you say them with hesitation, lowered eyes, or a shaky voice, the effect is lost. But if you say them with calm confidence, a gentle smile, and steady eye contact, the impact becomes entirely different. So, the next time you're speaking with a man you genuinely like, avoid the usual empty phrases. Instead, use a thoughtful "you and me" and notice the shift it creates. In attraction, just as in life, the right words paired with the right energy can unlock possibilities you didn't even know were there. Now, the real question is, how and when should you use this phrase to ensure it works? You already hold the key, you and me. But using it carelessly can backfire. This isn't a mantra to repeat without thought. It's a spark, effective only when used with purpose. Rule 1. Choose the right moment. These words work best when there's already a small connection. You don't need overwhelming chemistry, just an easy flowing conversation and some shared interest. For example, if you're talking about music and discover you both like the same band, that's a perfect setup. You could say, "You and I should catch one of their concerts sometime." What did you just do? You planted a seed. Without asking for anything directly, you've given him a reason to picture that moment with you.
Rule 2. Tone is everything. Even the most powerful words lose meaning if spoken with fear. Confidence isn't about being loud, it's about quiet certainty. That's the energy that transforms you and me from simple words into a spark. So take a breath, relax, meet his eyes, and say it like it's the most natural thing in the world. Not overly serious, not with a nervous laugh, just calm, confident energy that communicates, "I know my value." Rule 3. Context matters. If he's distracted, stressed, or you've only just met, don't force it. The phrase loses its effect if it doesn't match the flow of the conversation. Above all, make it feel authentic. It shouldn't sound rehearsed, but like a genuine thought that naturally fits the moment. Carl Jung often spoke about synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that feel almost destined. Aim to create that same kind of energy. Let your words flow naturally, as if they belong in the moment, not as if they were rehearsed. There's a clear difference between someone who effortlessly creates attraction and someone who tries to manufacture it. The first radiates belief, and it shows. The second feels forced, and people notice. Use this wisely. When you say, "you and me," with the right tone, at the right moment, and with steady confidence, you'll notice a shift in how he sees you. But here's the biggest mistake that can sabotage everything: too much enthusiasm. Yes, the phrase is powerful, but picture this. You've just met a guy and suddenly declare, "you and me need to go out this Saturday." The result? Awkwardness. Instant distance. Chemistry? Gone. Not because the words are wrong, but because the timing is off. Attraction isn't forced, it's suggested. It should feel light, like a breeze, not heavy, like a demand. Say it with too much intensity, and it feels like pressure, and no one reacts well to pressure. Here's a practical example. Imagine you're having a fun, easy conversation. The vibe is good, you're both laughing. That's when you casually say, "you and me would make a dangerously good team." You're not demanding anything. You're simply planting a small, intriguing seed. Now flip the scenario. You've only been talking for 5 minutes, and with a serious tone you say, "you and me should be together." The effect? Not attraction. Alarm bells. It sounds like you skipped 10 chapters without even reading the beginning. Another trap is overusing it. If you repeat "you and me" every chance you get, it stops being charming and starts sounding needy. The power lies in subtlety. Use it as a spark, not a slogan. When it comes to creating real intrigue, less is always more. Mystery is more attractive than insistence. For it to work, say it once, maybe twice at the perfect moment, then let go. Let the silence work its magic. Because the real power of these words isn't in an immediate reaction, it's in the quiet thought you leave behind. He may not respond right away, but that doesn't mean it didn't land. He might spend the rest of the day replaying that one effortless line in his mind. Something so simple, yet unforgettable. The most common mistake: saying "you and me," and then anxiously waiting for his approval, scanning his face for validation. That kills the mystery. But if you drop it naturally and keep talking as if nothing happened, that's when it truly works. That's when it stays with him. That's when he starts questioning what just happened. Confidence, ease, and no trace of desperation, that's the winning formula. When you speak with the energy of someone who understands her inner strength, you open a door. But if your words come from insecurity or neediness, that door closes before you even approach it. Now, here's something few people mention, yet it's essential: body language. You may already know the right words and the right timing, but if your body doesn't align with them, their impact fades. As Jung said, the body expresses what the soul cannot say. Your gestures often communicate more than your words, even before you speak. Imagine saying, "you and I should go out this Saturday," but doing so with a low voice, eyes down, and shoulders slouched, as if asking for permission. You drain the energy because your body signals doubt. And if you're unsure, he will be too. But hold eye contact a second longer, add a soft, relaxed smile, and suddenly your message resonates deeper. It reaches his unconscious. Confidence, when free of arrogance, is powerfully attractive. Your voice should remain calm and unhurried, as if what you're saying is the most natural thing in the world, because for you, it is. That calmness sends the signal, "I don't need your approval, but if we connect, this could be something." Pay attention to your posture as well. Crossed arms, shrinking into yourself, or avoiding space show discomfort. But relaxed shoulders and open gestures project effortless confidence. It's subtle but noticeable. Picture yourself in a playful conversation. You say, "You and me would make a dangerously good team." If delivered in a flat tone while avoiding eye contact, it's just words. But said with steady eyes, a gentle smile, and ease, it becomes an emotional hook he won't forget. Still, there's one mistake that can undo it all: focusing too much on his reaction. Don't stare at him waiting for approval. Just say it and move on naturally. That "I'm good with or without your response" energy is magnetic. Because the real appeal isn't just what you say, it's the peace with which you say it. And this goes beyond romance. Take the same phrase into other areas of life. In a meeting, instead of "we need to solve this," say, "You and I can figure this out quickly." You've shown trust, created partnership, and sparked confidence. Talking to an old friend, instead of "how have you been?" say, "You and I have a long overdue conversation." What could have been polite small talk now feels like an authentic invitation. Language like this activates what psychologists call relational archetypes, words that naturally build connection. And the phrase "you and me" works like a master key, opening doors in every part of life. Because at the core, what everyone wants, whether in love, friendship, or work, is to feel included, chosen, seen. And with 3 words, you can create that feeling when you use them with intention. Think about the common line, "We should catch up sometime." Nice, but vague. Now compare it to, "You and I need to catch up this week." Instantly, it shifts from possibility to commitment, from polite to personal. That difference builds a stronger bond. And the real beauty is this: when you begin using "you and me" naturally, it doesn't just change how others respond to you, it changes how you see yourself. Your confidence rises, your communication sharpens, and your presence grows magnetic. People start giving you more attention, openness, and genuine interest. Why? Because at a deep level, we all want to belong. With 3 simple words, you can make someone feel part of something shared. As Jung observed, our deepest transformations don't come from thoughts alone, but from feelings in connection with others. That's what you activate with "you and me." You create shared emotion and space for authentic connection. So don't limit this phrase to romance. Use it with colleagues, friends, family. It's not about seduction, it's about building real connection. When spoken from sincerity, it makes relationships more open, natural, and human. Because in the end, what makes us unforgettable is not just our words, but how others feel when we speak them. Words carry power, but only when delivered with awareness, presence, and intention. "You and me" isn't a trick or a scripted line. It's a bridge, a small phrase that can change a conversation, deepen a bond, and sometimes shift a life. We've seen how this simple phrase can spark attraction, strengthen connections, and improve communication in almost any setting. But remember, it's not only what you say, it's how you say it. With calmness, confidence, and at the right moment, like someone who doesn't need to prove anything, yet knows her value. True attraction isn't about pushing, it's about inviting. It's about authentic moments where the other person wants to lean in. Now it's your turn. Don't just keep this idea in your head, try it. Use "you and me" with ease, confidence, and sincerity. Watch how the energy changes, how people respond, and how your own confidence expands. And if you found this helpful, remember to subscribe and turn on notifications. More content is on the way to help you communicate with impact and authenticity. Hit like if you want more tools like this, and share in the comments. Has anyone ever made you feel truly special just through their words? Because real communication isn't about saying more, it's about being truly heard.